After a classified CIA briefing, Republican senators are in agreement that the murder of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi was ordered by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, despite previous claims.
I have zero question in my mind that the Crown Prince, MBS, ordered the killing, monitored the killing, knew exactly what was happening, planned it in advance. If he was in front of a jury, he would be convicted in 30 minutes, guilty.
I mean, they butchered Mr. Khashoggi like a hog, and we need to condemn that in the strongest possible term.
While not all senators were invited to the briefing, both those who were present and those who were absent are requesting a full CIA briefing from CIA Director Gina Haspel.
Now, I would like to know the facts that the CIA has about what happened. I don't think it's fair to say, well, these senators can know and others can't. And I think the directors made a pretty bonehead move there.
Senator Tim Kaine expressed how the Senate views the decision for the exclusivity of the briefing.
When they offer her under limited circumstances, they have to know that the way the Senate is going to interpret that is they are trying to ward off people having access to her, and we conclude it's because they are afraid of the conclusions that she is offering about Saudi and MBS's direct complicity in the death of Khashoggi.
Now, senators across the aisle are now threatening to pass a resolution preventing U.S. involvement in the Saudi-led war in Yemen. Other potential punishments against Saudi Arabia that are being considered include sanctions against the Saudi Crown Prince. Well, last week, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Defense Secretary Jim Mattis gave a briefing on the Khashoggi murder, both sharing reluctance to blame the Crown Prince. And with the death of Jamal Khashoggi in question, we're joined by CIA whistleblower John Kiriakou. Thanks so much for joining us, John.
Happy to do it.
And so, first off, what do you make of this briefing?
Oh, this was a very powerful briefing for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's unusual for the director of the CIA to give a briefing to senators who are not members of the Intelligence Committee. Gina Haspel briefed yesterday members of the Armed Services Committee, the Appropriations Committee, the Foreign Relations Committee. That's a big deal. But more important, I think, is the leak that came out of that briefing, and that is that much of this information was the result of intercepts. For example, in the media, we've read that there were 11 phone calls on the day of Mr. Khashoggi's murder between the Crown Prince and the leader of the team that was sent to Turkey. For the CIA, or for someone in the CIA, to burn a source as important as that means that this is very serious business.
Interesting. And I mean, if it is concluded that Saudi Arabia is responsible for Khashoggi's death, what do you foresee happening? I mean, while terrible, Saudi Arabia isn't the only country killing journalists. I mean, Mexico, Turkey, are we going to put sanctions on all countries that do things that we don't necessarily agree with?
No. Every country has double standards in their foreign relations. This is different, though, because this is the Crown Prince ordering the assassination of a green card holder. Jamal Khashoggi was not an American citizen, but he was an intending citizen. He had a green card. So we had to take a personal interest in this case. With that said, the Crown Prince ought not to be doing things like this. And when things like this have happened in the past, the Crown Prince, in one case the King, was deposed. So there's a way to go about doing this. In the old days, the family council would convene. This is the council made up of all of the male members of the royal family of Saudi Arabia. They would meet, they would actually take a vote and decide if someone should be deposed, whether it was a king like King Saud in the mid-1960s or a Crown Prince. That's not going to happen this time because Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is so powerful. Remember, a year or so ago, he arrested literally everybody in his family who could possibly pose a threat to him. So there's no one strong enough or popular enough within the family to take over. So he's probably going to weather this and get through it. The only thing we can do really is a sense of the Senate resolution or financial sanctions, but even those would be temporary.
So, I mean, you mentioned those. I mean, is there anything else that the U.S. can do that would be a diplomatic move that would show you know, that they are putting pressure on Saudi Arabia, but without burning any bridges at the same time?
Sure. The easiest one is to withdraw your ambassador and then to ask that the Saudis withdraw their ambassador. That's an unusual move. And what happens normally is after 3, 4, 6 months, you just quietly send your ambassador back. But the thing is does the Crown Prince then learn a lesson that you don't just go around murdering people and butchering them? I think that he will not learn that lesson.
Interesting. Well, we really appreciate your insight, John Kiriakou.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.